This is The Ramsey Show. You can be intentional about your character. You can have money and a career. You are the hero in your story.
Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Dollar Car Rental Studio, this is The Ramsey Show, where America hangs out to have a conversation about your life and your money. I'm Christy Wright, and joining me today is Dr. John Deloney. Welcome, John.
How are you?
Hey, we've never hosted together today. Are they going to regret this?
They might, but if you're driving down the road and you've never witnessed a train wreck live, you may want to hang on.
I'm so excited to host with John because he is a loose cannon. You never know what he's going to say. And
that's what my wife says, and I disagree.
Here's what's great is we are here for you. We are taking your calls, 888-825-5225. Give us a call about your time. That's what we're focusing on today, John, because in case you didn't know,
today's a big day, huh?
Today is a big day. Give me a drum roll.
I'm drum rolling. This is huge, man.
Today, my book launches. Take Back Your Time, the guilt-free guide to life balance. So this is a great day to answer your questions about life balance or time management. That's obviously been a big focus for me recently and today with the launch of the book. But of course, you know John is an expert on mental health and managing anxiety, which actually time and anxiety go together.
But listen, one thing I am terrible at.
Oh, I'm so ready for this.
Terrible is time management. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to step out in the lobby and make a few calls to you today because I'm really awful.
Okay.
I'm awful.
Well, let's just make you our first caller, John. What? Tell me. I'm genuinely curious. Are you kidding, or are you really bad at managing your time?
Oh man. If my wife listened to the show, she would have pulled over and raised her hands like an old.
She may just call in right now just to vouch for this.
But listen, I like to do everything.
Sure.
I don't like saying no.
Okay.
And
everyone listening can relate to this.
Not even out of like a sense of guilt. I literally love to do just about everything.
Okay.
I like doing stuff.
Yeah.
I like mowing, and I like writing this book I'm working on, and I like chit-chatting, and I like playing my music. I like playing with the kids. I like doing everything, which means at the end of the day, I often end up doing nothing very well, and I go to bed really scattered, and I don't sleep good, and my kids feel like they got a part of me, but not all of it, and my wife's like, hey, you're sitting at the table, but you're not with us. And then, man, and I find myself driving 90 miles an hour to work, and I just feel like I'm chaos all the time. And you're looking at me like, yeah, just like you started the show. But I like everything. But man, I'm just terrible at time management.
Well, it's interesting because I so relate to that. My default answer to any question, anytime, anywhere is yes. Yes, I would love to do that. Yes, I'll do this and I'll go there because it's all good. It all sounds fun. I'm very excited. I did learn early on into my marriage that my husband's default answer is not yes to all these social events. He's more of an introvert. That kind of taught me about how to have conversations before I commit us to things every day of the week, which was a learning experience. But I think you make a good point because so many people have a lot of interests and they're all good things. So it may not even just be that they're a people pleaser. That's certainly one problem a lot of people have. But in our world where the opportunities are endless and they're good opportunities. There's fun things going on every night of the week. There's fun things you could get involved in. You want to do them. You try to do them. And I think that's one of the things I've been fascinated by in researching for this book is what we have tried to do is we've tried to take something that is fixed, our time, 24 hours in a day. That is fixed. It is an absolute. You can make more money. You cannot make more time.
Yes.
But instead of cutting things out or editing or choosing the best things or even really putting a lot of thought to our decisions, we just try to run faster. We try to cram more in. Oh, I just need to multitask better. I need to be more efficient. I need to be more productive. And we think the solution is that something we need to do to work harder. And we do that. And we just end up exhausted and still out of balance. It didn't fix the root issue.
Right. And I pretend I'm not a people pleaser. I for sure am. But I'm fascinated, Christy, and you can help me with this. I'm fascinated by people like your husband and my wife who I can say, hey, we just got an invitation to something in August. And she'll say, we're going to need to pass on that. And my first thought is, why? It could be awesome.
You don't like fun? You don't like people?
Why do you hate America? And she'll say, well, we have 15 things going on. You've got this 2 weeks before, which I'm around you during those seasons, and you're not fun, right? I don't understand how somebody can look at fun and think, what if we all slept? Think how much more fun we would have if we just all ate all of our meals, right? I don't understand how somebody gets there, and I do this for a living, but this is the one elusive thing for me is I pretend throughout a day that I can just make more time. I think that's what it comes down to.
We all think that.
Like I live in a fantasy world.
Yeah, we all do that. And then what's interesting is instead of cutting things out or saying no, like our spouses are better at than we are, we try to run faster. And then what happens is things drop. And then we feel guilty. And I'm curious your thoughts on this because what I found, John, and this is certainly from personal experience, but also from years of working with people, men and women experience it differently, but we both experience it. There is such a layer of guilt that factors into how we manage our time, how we make decisions, and even how we feel balance, what that even means to us. Because I've noticed that we don't know what balance is. We're just sure we don't have it.
Yeah.
And so it feels like we're chasing a moving target. It feels like we're always guilty no matter what we do. It feels like it's the wrong thing. And so I'm curious your experience, even with this idea of like guilt and this nagging feeling of like, gosh, I can't get it together. Gosh, I just feel like I'm always doing the wrong thing. Like, do you see that in people that you work with?
Oh, yeah.
That's such a piece of this.
In myself, because when I don't take the time to reverse engineer my day or my week or my month, meaning I've got to have a picture of what enough is. And I've got to have a picture of a day well lived is. Otherwise, I'm always, well, I should probably do this and probably do this. And had a great day with my son yesterday. And so what did I do? I went home and thought, you know what I need? Oh, he wanted to read these books. And so there I'm on Amazon. There was no need to do that, right? But I didn't have a picture of what enough was today.
Yeah.
And so I got caught up in we had a great time. We were running around in the creek being silly. I just want to keep this thing going, right? Yeah, that's me. I think that now that I'm saying it out loud, I'm that kid at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'm like, come on, man, let's just keep the lights going. Like, it's so dumb. I'm tired. I want to sleep. And but I think we don't have a good understanding of what a finish line is on anything. Yeah. And so we just run around untethered all the time. Yeah,
we don't know what success looks like, and so we always feel like we're a failure.
Right.
And so I think that's a big piece of it. And it's funny, your book, Redefining Anxiety, when we were coming out with this book, I was like, what about redefining balance? They're like, no, Deloney has the redefining title. I was like, okay, we'll come up with something else. But what I love about the title we landed on, Take Back Your Time, the guilt-free guide to life balance, because I don't think this is just a time issue or a schedule issue. I think it's a heart issue of this guilt piece of it. And if we don't fix our time problem at the root level, it's going to keep coming up again and again and again. And so I love how you talked about that. For any of you guys listening right now and you need help with managing your time, give us a call. We're taking your calls today, me and Dr. John Deloney, 888-825-5225. We're focusing on life balance, time management, managing anxiety, and of course, we're always here to take your money questions. It'll be funny to see what answers John and I come up with for you.
We're going to nail it.
It's going to be so great. We totally got this. This is The Ramsey Show.
Still on baby step number 1, eh?
How'd you guess?
With healthcare costs rising, learn how Christian Healthcare Ministries can help you make the most out of your budget. Visit chministries.org/budget.
Don't worry, it's worth it.
I'm Christy Wright, sitting in the chair today with me is Dr. John Deloney, and we are taking your calls. Phone lines are open, 888-825-5225. We talked last segment about my book launching, Take Back Your Time. So if you've got a time question, today's a great day to talk about it. We all struggle with having enough time. I certainly feel like that.
Hey, so tell me about what a book launch looks like. So I'm in the middle of writing, and I know there's not a lot of sleep, and there's not a lot of balance.
It's a lot of interviews.
You get this thing out, and now what's happening?
Well, that's what's funny. I was on an interview this morning, and it was like, well, what does your schedule look like right now? I'm like, the opposite of whatever you think it is for someone that launched a book on balance. I'm like, I'm living and breathing. But really, that's the reason that I love helping people figure out what's right now, because you can't do everything all the time.
Yep.
So you figure out what's right now and do that. And right now, it's getting the book out there, and there's going to be a season this summer. I've been playing a lot, and now we're switching gears. So phone lines are open, 888-825-5225, taking your calls about your life and your money. Dr. John Deloney and I are here to help. We're going to go to the phones. We've got a call from Yadira in Bakersfield, California. Hey, Yadira, how's it going?
Hi, thank you so much for taking my call. I can't imagine two better people to answer my question.
I agree.
So ready.
I don't even know what your question is. Yes.
Okay, so it's a two-part question. So part one, I have a wonderful husband. I have a ton of dogs, keep life interesting. I have an incredible talent of succeeding in everything I do. And I've done that by creating two businesses. But I still find myself lacking and finding myself really depressed and lonely when I logically understand that I'm super lucky and very blessed and should not feel that way. But I do tend to feel empty and sad and find it hard to get out of bed some days. And it's kind of just circled around the what's the point mentality. And then part two is because I want to feel balanced and accept things I don't have control over and be able to feel happy when good things happen. I signed up for BetterHelp on John's referral link, and I wanted to know how I can make the most out of this program. I currently was assigned a therapist. I just spoke to her once. She seems really nice, but I want to determine if she is a good fit and what I can do or what I can request to help this process be more helpful and beneficial. I've never gone to therapy, and I've been raised around people who don't believe that therapy can help. So when I saw that you could do it remotely, I was super excited, and I just want to know the best way to approach it.
So I was just writing down while you were talking. Where does this story come from? That you are your achievement, and you are the amount of accomplishments you have, and you are the amount of luck that you feel like you've received from the world. And then you ended this with, I come from a family that doesn't believe in therapy. So then I thought, well, that answered that question. Somebody told you that. Somebody either modeled that for you or told you that directly, that all your dreams would come true. And when I say dreams, I don't mean money or jobs or anything. I mean the ability to sleep at night, the ability to hug your husband or hold hands with him when y'all are going for a walk, and it to feel like you can be there instead of wondering about an email that's come. Like you could be present. Who told you that? Where'd that come from?
I think that just came over a long period of time. So when I was younger, I had a lot of difficulties really just getting by day to day. And as I've gotten older, I've just noticed that, I try to start a business, it goes great. I try to start a project, it goes fantastic. Anything that I ever tried in the last few years, I've noticed that I succeed at. And I hear that from my husband's family specifically, that they're so surprised that I can do anything I say I'm going to do it. They might think I'm crazy, and I just do it. And so it might come more from my husband's family than my own, where that confidence comes from.
Christy, you talk to a lot of, I'll challenge that in a second here, but I want to get back to starting a business. Christy, you talk to a lot of folks who start businesses. Do you hear often that people get to the end of it and think,
well, I think there's a
what?
Well, it's interesting because I put some research in my book on even something as simple as like to-do lists, like the dopamine that's released when you check a box. So I think there can be, and I'm not the doctor here, so you tell me if I'm wrong, but I think there can be in my life that I've experienced an addictive nature of success and achievement. So you achieve something, it's like, well, what's next? So I run a half marathon, well, I'm going to do the full marathon. You become addicted to that achievement. Well, how can I push myself? And there's part of that I think is a good quality, but I think it can be something like I definitely have experienced that, John. Like I've experienced that where it's like, okay, what's next? What's next? Yeah.
So Yadira, why are you doing this? Like, why are you going to therapy? Why are you creating successful businesses? Why are you married to a great guy?
I don't know. That's kind of the reason that I'm really looking for answers, so to speak.
But listen, that is the answer. If you are doing this for nothing, for achievement's sake, it will always be a vortex. It'll be a black hole. You'll be Jeff Bezos. You'll have $8 trillion. And then you'll think, well, I guess I'm just going to quit and go to space because I don't have anything else to do. Right? Like, because what's next? And
I guess I do it for, like, the stability. I think that's what I'm looking for.
And what I would tell you is stability is an illusion. It feels good, but it's never enough. And so you have to define this, and it sounds cliche, and we talk about it all the time. You've got to have a thing you're doing this for. Or to say it in a nerdy way, you got to have a why. And when you just spin and spin and spin, here's the deal. You have been running, you've been fight or flight for probably your whole life. And you can't you can't outperform, you can't run from a feeling of, I don't have any value. Or you can't run from a feeling of we don't have enough around here. And so when you come up with enough number, that's what I love what Dave talks about. You need 6 months for an emergency fund. And then we're going to say, good, man. We don't have a meteorite plan, right? And so we have 6 months emergency fund, and then we're going to move on to the next thing. Because if you keep spinning out your wheels there, then what are you going to do? Eventually your body says, why even get out of bed? Just go to bed. Just stay here. And so what I would love to challenge you and your husband to do is to get away from all the mess. And by the way, you're going to start a business and it's not going to be successful. And you know what? That's going to be okay. You're still going to be you. It is. Right. And you're going to have another one that's successful, another one after that successful. Great. That doesn't define you, right? It's cool and it's neat and we'll high five you. It doesn't come from your in-laws. They're just celebrating you, right?
Right.
It comes from this idea that you think you can outrun change and you can outrun insecurity, and you can't. You got to sit with it and let it be present and feel it, and it's uncomfortable and it's awful and you won't feel like you're enough. And then, as you talked about, you go sit with somebody who's a professional. Here's the best thing you can do with the counselor is to tell the truth. Most people lie. That's one of the first things in grad school they teach you is your clients will lie to you. Go tell the truth. Okay, tell the truth. Be honest about your feelings, about what you do want to do, what you don't want to do. And go somewhere with your husband and y'all sit down and say, why are we doing this? What do we want to be? Where do we want to go? Christy and I were talking about earlier about reverse engineering what enough looks like. What is after we paid off our house and after we're everyday millionaires and after, what are we doing? Get to the why to what you're doing, the where you want to be, and reverse engineer it, and then live a life that you love to live, right? Otherwise, you can be running and running and running and running, and then you're going to be like, well, I guess I'll just go to space for the weekend because I don't know what else to do, right?
I think
it kind of feels like that.
It does. And we can't go to space because we don't have $1 trillion, so we just stay in bed and watch Netflix, right?
Right.
I think that'd be a great exercise for you to take on, with your counselor, Yadira, of this idea of discovering what your why is. And it may not happen in one session. It may not happen in just one 5-minute prayer of being alone. But if you spend some time and dig, like what makes you light up? What makes you come alive? What gives meaning and purpose to your life? Ken Coleman talks about this on his show. John Deloney talks about this on his show. I talk about it in different ways on my show. But that is the baseline for everything. For every business, for every relationship, for everything you do needs to have a purpose. You need to have a why, or else no matter what you do, you're going to wake up the same sinking feeling like you don't have a purpose. I bet you do. You just need to find it. This is The Ramsey Show.
What makes our show unique is that we genuinely care about our listeners. We're intentional about choosing the best advertisers to recommend. Blinds.com is no exception. They offer high-quality window treatments at unbelievable prices, and they make it simple to shop blinds, shades, and interior shutters with easy online ordering, free shipping, and a guaranteed perfect fit. Go to Blinds.com and take advantage of this week's special savings.
In the lobby of Ramsey Solutions on the debt-free stage, Sharmon is with us. Hey, Sharmon, how are you?
Great. How are y'all?
Good. So you are on the debt-free stage, which means you are debt-free.
Yes,
I can't
ma'am.
wait to hear this story. Okay, tell us, first of all, where do you live?
I live in Graham, North Carolina.
Okay, awesome. And how much debt have you paid off?
On the program, about $12,000.
Okay.
I actually started way more than that when I got out of college. It's about 11 years ago. So it was like total about like 38.
38. Okay, awesome.
Student loans are horrible.
Yeah, that's what we hear and that's what we teach. Okay, how long did it take you?
On the program, 2.5. Total was about like 11-ish.
Okay.
So
Cool.
But once I got on the program, it kind of went faster because like the Gazelle Intense thing.
Sure,
It
yeah.
gave you kind of extra motivation, like you can do this, here's ways to do it.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll just go with your totals just for fun, just because it sounds better. 38,000. That's awesome. What's your range of income during that time?
About 17 to about 26.
Oh wow.
So, and mine's lower, but I felt like coming here, even with the lower one, income, that could help people like me that don't make a lot to say, I can do this too.
Absolutely.
So,
I love that.
1,000% yes.
Absolutely.
The most common critique I hear is people say, "Oh, it's easy when you make $100,000 to." Well, you make 17.
It's not a critique.
And
It's
you
an
figured it
excuse.
out. It's
That's the number one excuse
like
we
that.
hear.
Yes.
And then I got a new job, so it kind of started bumping up a little, but and jobs over time. But like,
What do you do for a living?
I was a chef.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now I'm a seamstress at a uniform company, which is actually great because there's a lot of great benefits and everything.
Yeah.
Cool.
And so like this weekend I was off automatically, and I got time off here easily. So
Very
Awesome.
cool.
got to come here and meet y'all.
Yeah. Well,
Because I've been binge watching John Deloney's or listening to it.
that is what I hear. It's
There
like
are
Netflix.
very few people who say that out loud, so I appreciate you.
No, that's a compliment. You like helped me in ways you didn't even know.
Well, I appreciate that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Okay, so Sharmon, let's talk about this debt. The $38,000. Let's just do the whole amount here. What type of debt was this?
College,
Okay.
medical, car, and bed.
Bed. Fine. Okay.
Yeah.
Got a loan on the bed. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. And
It
so
was kind of supposed to be like half and half when I was married, and then a couple months after we bought that at like the state fair, we split up. So it was in my name, so it became mine. So it was kind of good because I got to keep it, but I had to pay it.
yeah.
So it kind of became like a love-hate thing. And when I got my car, it was like a love-hate thing. Like I don't like it because I don't like the debt, but I got it.
Yeah. Yeah. It all was a part of it. How much of the $38,000 was college?
26.
What's your degree in?
Culinary arts and food service management. I wanted to own a restaurant until I got into restaurants, and
Oh, that happened.
stressful,
Ruh-roh.
hard life.
Yeah.
People burn out really quick.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. I hear that a lot because it's like the idea of like, oh, a chef, that sounds so cool. And then the reality is nights and weekends and
Yeah.
late nights and you come home smelling like food and you're like, maybe not.
And everyone's
It's
just
not-
mean to you.
It's
Yeah.
not quite what you think when you watch it on Food Network.
Yeah. It's not quite like that.
And I always wanted to have a family, and I thought if I'm owning a restaurant, I can't have a family one day. Or maybe if I do, I won't see them.
Yeah.
So
You think of it differently. You know, John, I wanted to be an event planner in college. And my mom told me, she was like, you need to think about that because events are on the weekends. And if you have a family, spouse that works 9 to 5, you need to think through the implications. So it does take some thinking through that. Okay. So let's go back to how did you decide to start paying this off 11 years ago? And then what happened how were you introduced to us? So give us both stages of the story here.
So when I came home from college and I was living with my parents, and about the 6 months later when everything started coming in, my dad sat me down and I was like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. And he actually taught me the Dave Ramsey way of paying them off, because I had like 7 or 8 different individual loans. So he taught me, pay them all, pay, as much as you can on the least one, and then just keep adding. So I did that, and I was making small progress, but then I got in more debt. So then I had to add that to it. So I just kept doing it the Dave Ramsey way. Sometimes I just didn't realize it. But like I said, when I got to Dave Ramsey, it just kind of escalated it. And I was like, before I knew it, I was like, I'm going to be able to do this a lot faster. I can have an end date now.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, it lights a fire under you, doesn't it?
Yeah.
All right, so talk about the journey. Who were your biggest cheerleaders in this journey?
They were. So my cousins right here, they gave me it. So I bought Total Money Makeover. And when I did, it was right before I started my new job. And I was like, I don't know if I should be spending this money to get these 2 books because of the workbook. But I was like, I'm just going to do it. And I got a new job. And then it was about New Year's Eve day, right the day before I started my new job. They told me, well, you find a class for PFU and we'll pay for it. And honestly, I was like, no, they're not going to do that. When they left, she texted me. She's like, yeah, when you find your class to talk to him, we'll pay for it. I actually didn't find a class until almost a year later, but I took it and I loved it. And then a year later, about this year actually, I led the class, and then my parents took it, and my mom had the whole Dave Ramsey curse word thing in the house. Every time I said something about Dave Ramsey, she's like, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. And then she wanted to support me, and they wanted to support me, so they took it, and now they're doing the program. They're working on it. So they're my main ones, and my brother.
Okay.
He's home. He's a firefighter, so he's got crazy schedules, but he follows the program too. So they're my biggest ones.
I love it. Well, I know they are so proud of you. It's incredible to see the different stages of your journey and just how you stuck with it. Even with a couple setbacks, you stuck with it. And now here you are, debt free. Well, I got to tell you, Sharmon, we have got a copy of the Legacy Journey for you, because that's definitely your next step of the journey. And of course, we're going to give you a copy of the Total Money Makeover. You can gift that to a friend, another family member, someone you can help kickstart their journey and get them on the same path that you are on. And John and I are so excited for you, and we're so proud of you. So
I had 2 little stories that I wanted to tell, if that was okay.
We actually have to go into break in a minute, and we need to get this debt-free scream, which are going to be so good. Okay, Sharmon is with us from Greensboro, North Carolina, paid off $38,000 in 11 years, making a range of income of $17,000 to $26,000. Let's hear a debt-free scream.
3, 2, 1. I'm debt free.
Way to go, Sharmon. Gosh, here's the thing, John, that the debt-free journey is such a long one that it's just amazing. When you stand there, it's this milestone. It's this, I'm never going back. My life has changed. It never gets old to see that.
Never. And I hope anyone listening to this, whether you have $150,000 in debt or $10,000, $20,000, it's all on a scale, and some people think, I don't have that much, it's all good. It's not. Yeah. Some people think, I have too much, I'm not even going to bother. It's not.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Sharmon didn't make an excuse. She didn't make a ton of money. Everyone's, I don't have enough. You do. What you have to have is people in your corner, and you got to have the willpower to wake up one day and say, no more, I'm done.
Well, right? And it's such a simple concept that is easy to understand but difficult to do, where you truly have to live on less than you make.
Stop, crazy lady, stop. What?
Whether you make $700,000 or $17,000, you have to live on less than that in order to be able to afford your lifestyle, and certainly even less than that if you're going to pay off this debt. And Sharmon did it, and I just think it's incredible to see people that have got the gusto to go for it. 11-year journey in her case.
Yeah.
And like you said, on that income, sticking with it, getting different jobs, she has made it, and that is just incredible. I know there's a lot of people listening right now, and they are going to find hope in that, and maybe the kick in the pants that they needed, because maybe they don't have a big income, thinking, okay, I don't have an excuse. I can actually do this.
And if you've been through it, just like her cousins did, aunt and uncle, cousins, man, sponsor somebody that you love.
Yes.
You can change their entire family tree. They were probably trying to get to your parents and not to you, but they got to you through the, like, whatever it works. That one little investment has changed a family tree for everybody. Man, find somebody in your life that you can reach out and say, you know what, I'm going to bless you with this. We're going to change everything for you starting today. And FQ is a good way to get going, man.
It's why we do what we do. This is The Ramsey Show. Christy Wright, and joining me today is Dr. John Deloney. We're taking your calls about life and money. 888-825-5225, and we've got a call from Andrew in Phoenix, Arizona. Hey, Andrew, how's it going?
Hey, John and Christy, how are you?
Good. What's going on? How can we help?
Hey, so a little bit of background. My wife and I are debt-free, and then about 2 weeks ago, my wife found out that she is pregnant.
Oh, congratulations.
Thanks. And then additionally, I'm making the jump to get out of the Army next year. So my question is, what are some wise financial goals during this time? Because right now it just kind of feels like every dime I spend takes away from the baby or money we need to transition out of the Army.
Yeah. How much savings do y'all have?
We have a 3-month emergency fund that we're beefing up to a 6, and then that's our main goal right now.
Yeah.
So what money are you feeling guilty about spending?
That's a great question. I think most of it. My wife's also part-time or full-time in grad school, and so we're cash flowing that. So it just kind of feels like every time we do our budget, I've been using every dollar for like the past 6 years. So like every time we do our budget, it just kind of feels like the numbers always come up short.
Mm. Is this your first kid?
It is.
Okay. Chrissy, you can tell me if I'm crazy here. I remember planning for my first child, and I over-guilted and over-dramatized and over-scrutinized everything. So if you were telling me that, yeah, bro, I'm like getting my Jeep extra jacked up right now, and I'm like doing some knucklehead things like that, then I want to buy a boat, and I would tell you, yeah, you should feel guilty about that right now. If it's not in your budget, y'all haven't planned for it, if you can't afford it, and you got a new baby coming on the way. If you've got a budget and you are doing quote-unquote normal things like investing in grad school and you're cash flowing, you're doing everything right, then high five to you, man. Your guilt, I would pass along, Christy, hop in here. Your guilt is, at least in my experience, is a normal part of prepping for the great unknown, which is what is my life going to look like after a kid. And so I get apprehensive and I get anxious, and so then I just never feel like I'm on firm footing.
Andrew, quick question about the transitioning from the Army. Have you run the numbers on that? Like, how much are you making? What will you be making? What is that going to look like from an actual tangible number standpoint?
I haven't sat down and actually run the numbers on a piece of paper, but I have a general idea. I think the hard part is that I want to do my own thing, whether it's a financial coaching business or just something on my own, but it doesn't feel very practical right now because I don't have any real plan in that direction.
Yeah. So here's what I would recommend, and this is a really simple answer, but I think this will help relieve some of your fears and hopefully some of your guilt. You're already using every dollar for a regular monthly basis, but it sounds like you've got several things going on in your life, 2 at least, if not potentially 3, that are completely unknown. And so what you want to do is you want to put numbers to those things as much as you can. Like, okay, I'm making up hypotheticals here, Andrew, but let's say if I have 6 months emergency fund, I will feel secure about bringing the baby home with a 6-month emergency fund. If I have X amount of, I'm making this and I'm going to be making this in this period of time. There's 2 months in between, 3 months. This is how much money I need. I'm going to set this aside. Putting some numbers, goals, to these unknowns, I think will relieve some of your fear, and then it gives you permission to put line items on the budget for the things that you need and the amount that you want, because you go, oh, I'm covered. Right now, it's just a lot of question marks, and that is scary. The unknown, ambiguity, that makes anybody feel anxious and nervous, because it's like, I don't know. How much do I need? I don't know. How much for the baby? I don't know. How much to transition jobs? I don't know. For the business? I don't know. So I just want to encourage you, take these one thing at a time. Step one, the baby's coming. You know when, roughly. Let's just set a number to it. If it's 5 months emergency fund, 6 months emergency fund, whatever that amount of money is, then when you get it, give yourself permission to relieve the fear there as much as you can within reason. I know you've got emotions around it, but you know, okay, I've got the money. Transitioning from the Army, run some numbers. How much money do you need to make this transition? What will you be making in what amount of time? And then if you want to do your own thing, that's fine. We're just not going to do it all at the same time.
Yeah.
It's going to be priority 1, priority 2, priority 3. With numbers attached, with timelines attached. And I think if you do that, Andrew, I think that will relieve your fear and overwhelm, because even when those emotions rise up, like anybody does when they're transitioning jobs or bringing a baby home, because that's a crazy time, you at least have the numbers on paper to say, we're okay. Do you think that would help, John?
Yeah, I mean, that's 100%. That's going down to the very basic, what can you control here, right? Yeah, Andrew, you can't start your new coaching job right now. You don't have enough clients. You don't have enough people. You got a new baby. You're going to have to get an interim job. And like you said, put the numbers on the paper. You wouldn't go into combat without doing the appropriate reconnaissance and budgeting and what tools you need. Same situation here, right?
Yeah, we one of the things, it's funny, the correlation between time and money is just so, it's kind of incredible, because I think that we put pressure on ourselves, maybe from desire, maybe from outside pressures, to do everything all the time. And we want to do everything all the time with our time, and we want to do everything all the time with our money.
They're both mythological, right?
Yeah, and we feel spread thin, and then it removes our ability to focus and gain traction in any one area. And so one of the questions I've been asking myself lately, and it's in relation to time, since we've been talking about this a lot, but I say, what is right now? What is right now with my time? What is right now with my money? Okay, what's right now? I have a baby coming home, for example, in Andrew's case. What is right now in a year? Maybe that's the business. Yeah. But you prioritize, and I think so much of our stress, John, comes from, and I know women are really bad about this, we treat everything as if it's created equal, and it's not. So when push comes to shove, two things need us, whether it's with time or money, we don't know how to make decisions, because we have lost the ability to prioritize and say, this is first most important, this is second most important, this is third most important, and so on. And so I think if you can put on paper what is most important in order of priority and create some goals around that, whether it's just a deadline or a dollar amount, it doesn't matter. It relieves your fear, and it also gives you permission to say, hey, just because I'm not going to start a business right now doesn't mean never. No. It just means it's not right now.
Right. You've got a wife in grad school, and you've got to finish a year in the Army, and you're going to have to earn an income right now because you got a little kid, right? So it's not the season.
Yeah,
but
it's not.
You will be working towards it. And I'll tell you, I've never heard somebody explain it that way, but I love what you just said, that women often flatten things out and say it's all important right now. Guys run around and keep a lot of crap in their head. And I'll get to it. I was talking about earlier about I was anxious before Hank was born. I didn't know it. It never occurred to me, like an idiot, it never occurred to me just to sit down with somebody who had a kid and said, hey, how much do diapers cost? How much does food cost? What an arrogant moron.
This is not a mystery. We can find it out.
And it's everywhere as an answer, because everyone I know has kids. Yet I thought my worry energy, my ruminating energy, I don't know, I should Google it and look it up. I thought that was time and thoughts well spent, because they felt important and impactful. And God almighty, dude, it would have taken a half an hour on a spreadsheet to say, oh, it costs about this and it costs about that. Right. And that's about what you're going to need. And I would have gone, oh, okay. You know what I mean?
Watch how just putting it on paper, and that's why we teach people to do a budget. Yeah. But it's the same thing with your calendar. Whatever it is, it's just a plan. If you want to run a marathon, you've got a plan on paper. And when you have a plan, when you can see it, you can do it. It's when you try to keep it in your head that's when it starts to create the worry and create the anxiety. I think David Allen in his book, Getting Things Done, said, your mind is for having ideas, not holding ideas.
Yes.
And that's what keeps you up at night.
And you just said it's a budget, it's calendar, it's also with your thoughts, right? Just taking a moment in the day to say, I'm going to write this down real quick. Hold on, I got 50 things spinning. does she really not like me? Is that why this is?
Right.
No, she does. Like, there's stuff going on. Right. It's just write this stuff down.
Yeah, it's so good. Well, in case you guys need help with your time, my new book, Take Back Your Time, The Guilt-Free Guide to Life Balance, is available for pre-order today.
When
you get your copy, you know what? We've got all kinds of fun stuff for you guys. You get the audiobook free, the ebook free. You get a ticket to my event in September for free, and you get access to a private Facebook group with me for free. Get your copy of Take Back Your Time, the guilt-free guide to life balance. I want to help you spend your life on what is most important to you.
Congratulations. I know you've been working on that.
Thank you. I want to thank producers James Child, associate producer Kelly Daniel, my co-host Dr. John Deloney. This is The Ramsey Show.
Hey guys, this is James, senior producer for The Ramsey Show. Did you know over 18 million people listen to The Ramsey Show every week? And a lot of those people listen on one of our 600 plus radio stations across the country. To find a station near you, head to theramseyshow.com.
This is The Ramsey Show. You can be intentional about your character. You can have money and a career. You are the hero in your story.
Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Dollar Car Rental Studio. This is The Ramsey Show, where America hangs out to have a conversation about your life and your money. I'm Christy Wright. I'm a business coach and author, and I'm joined today by Dr. John Deloney.
A best-selling author you are. You left that out conveniently.
Thank you, John.
And this is a big, big, big day for you.
This is a big day. My new book, Take Back Your Time, The Guilt-Free Guide to Life Balance, is available for pre-order, which means you get the ebook, the audiobook, you get a ticket to my live event in September, all for free when you get your copy early. And John, you know, I've been asked this morning a couple times on interviews earlier, you know, how long I've been working on this message. And it sounds dramatic, which I can be dramatic, but this is not a dramatic answer. It's truly been almost a decade in the sense that this was one of the first things I was ever booked to speak on back years ago, before I ever had kids, before I was even married. It's such a pain point in our culture, and even more so now than it was 10 years ago with social media. You've got a phone in your pocket screaming your name 24 hours a day. The demands are unending. And so, you know, everywhere I go, entre leadership events, business boutique events, outside speaking events, I'm always asked the question, how do you balance it all? How do you balance it all? And it's interesting because I saw an article, and I was going to ask you about this, your thoughts on this. So when I'm asked about this topic, I'm always asked where balance is a verb. How do I balance it all? And we've got all the analogies, right? Like spinning plates and juggling balls, and some balls are rubber and some balls are glass, and which balls can you let break, and walking a tightrope, and all of those things feel very...
I just threw up in my mouth like 6 times just when you just said that.
Well, that was graphic. It feels like that is exhausting, full of anxiety, and doesn't guarantee you're going to have balance. I can do all of that. I can juggle all the balls, spin all the plates, and I still may not feel balance. And so it led me to a different question. What if balance isn't so much something you do, how you balance it all perfectly, but instead something you create, where it looks more like peace. It looks more like I feel confident in my choices, where I'm actually happy with how I spend my time. And it's interesting because this term, work-life balance, is one of those things that people have a visceral response to. Like, it's very emotionally charged. It's very triggering. Some people roll their eyes. Some people scoff at the word. Oh, it doesn't exist. And I saw this article recently. It says Jeff Bezos says work-life balance is a debilitating phrase.
Dun, dun, dun.
And it's interesting. I mean, his take on it is interesting in the article, but there's a sentence in here that I wanted to ask you about, because it quotes him and it says, "It's actually a circle." Bezos said, "It's not a balance." He says he doesn't compartmentalize his career and his personal life. Now, here's one of the things I've seen in researching this topic for a decade and living it and teaching it and so on. We have a lot of alternative phrases. It's not work-life balance, it's work-life harmony. It's not work-life balance, it's work-life integration. It's not work-life balance, it's a circle. Here's the thing.
I just threw up in my mouth again.
I get it. I get people trying to provide an alternative to the word, but here's what I would say. That still doesn't provide a solution. Telling me that it's a circle does not help me feel better about how I spend my time. And so, John, what it really, what I unpack in the book is life balance isn't doing everything for an equal amount of time. It's about doing the right things at the right time. And when you do the right things at the right time, you feel that sense of balance you've been looking for, whether the right things are being all in at work for that season or that week or that day, all in with your kids, on vacation, taking care of your health, taking care of a parent. None of us can do everything all the time. And when we put that pressure on ourselves, of course we feel guilty. But if we can identify what the right things are and do the right things at the right time, giving yourself permission to change as those change by season, by week, by day, then you can feel that sense of balance. And what I mean by that is peace.
Yeah.
You can feel confident, like, hey, I feel good about how I'm spending my time, but I'm not doing everything. But it gives me permission to say no to all those things that are not right now, like we were talking about earlier. What are your thoughts on this phrase? It's not about balance, it's a circle.
Yeah, my immediate response is, I'm trying not to swear, and I'm trying not to get
That's
frustrated.
always a good start.
Going back to what you said, everything starts with intentionality, and somewhere along the way, and it's been brewing for years and years, we were told by our family systems and by our culture and by our teachers my son was being asked about what college he's going to go to in first grade, right? It's part of the intellectual economy, which is there will never be enough, and you can do all of it at the same time, and that's what success looks like. Mm-hmm. And then you hand everybody a computer in your pocket that curates all this and makes it look perfect, right? And I think it goes back to that one magic word, which is intentionality. Mm-hmm. And what you said is some seasons, my wife and I sit down and say it's going to be we did that last night. Mm-hmm. This week is a bonkers week for us, for me at work, and we have guests coming. Here's what this week's going to look like for us. Next week, I'm on vacation, so we're going to have 6 days. My kids were involved in that, and so I'm not going to feel this sense of guilt because I'm not home, right? But it comes back to intentionality, everyone to be on the same page. When I see something like this, it usually comes from CEOs, and my first thought is one of, well, that's really easy to think about your life in a circle when you are not worried about whether you're going to have enough food, right? Mm-hmm. When you're not working 3 jobs trying to put stuff on the table, when you're not. It's so fun to think of life in shapes. Yeah. When you're not hungry, right?
It's a triangle.
And I know I don't know Jeff. He's probably a great guy. I do think that it's easier to think about your life in this as a big dance when you're working towards a mission that you love and you're connected to everything and it all feels good, and then your friends are folks that you work with. That's all fine and good. I just work, and you work with millions of people who are just slinging boxes all day, and then they Uber at night, and then in the mornings they're trying to get their thing off the ground. And life isn't a circle, man. Yeah. It's a grind.
Yeah. Well, and you make a good point, because everybody's, not only their seasons are different, their families are different, their work's different, the demands they have on them are different. But I think what's frustrated me in this journey with this topic specifically, which I love a good challenge, which is why I took this on, but it's one of those things where it just frustrates me when it still doesn't solve the problem. You can give me all the analogies of juggling balls, spinning plates, walking a tightrope. You can give me all the shapes in the world, integration, harmony, circles, triangles. I don't care. If it doesn't solve the problem I have in my life, then it doesn't help me.
And so what is the problem? Is the problem that it's a dishonest standard?
I think that when we say we don't have balance, we might be saying I work too much. We might be. There's a percentage of people that are saying that. But I think what a lot of people are saying is something doesn't feel right.
I'm not fulfilled. Like I don't have joy in my life.
I feel guilty. That's why I made the tagline, The Guilt-Free Guide to Life Balance, because I think guilt is a big piece of this. But I truly believe, and I have experienced this, and I've coached people through this, when you do the right things at the right time, you feel that sense of balance and you shake the guilt. And it does actually solve that problem that you thought you had of always feeling like you're coming from behind, never having balance. But it's not in the way that we think. It's a different approach.
Somebody wrote a bullcrap-free book about taking back time and get in balance. Good for you.
Thank you. RamseySolutions.com. You can get your copy and pre-order today. This is The Ramsey Show.
Hey folks, I got a great option to help you pay for your education. The Army National Guard. The Army National Guard believes you are the next greatest generation because you have proven that even in adversity, that you have what it takes to succeed. That's why they offer benefits like tuition assistance, career training, and a paycheck to help you avoid debt. No matter what your goals are, the Army National Guard can help you get there. Visit nationalguard.com to find out more.
How many of y'all are stressed out or hurting because your retirement savings took a major hit last year? Maybe you were super close to retiring and now you're wondering if you should work a few more years to make up the difference. Maybe you weren't investing in the right things, or you were investing aggressively and you lost more than you could stomach. Maybe you pulled everything out and now you're wondering where you should go from here. Listen, if you're in one of these situations, I want you to know you don't have to face this pain alone. Now more than ever is the time to seek out the advice of an investment professional. A conscientious investment pro like one of our SmartVestor pros is not going to tell you to invest in something dumb like gold. They're going to spend a ton of time looking at your current situation and helping you create a plan to get back on track. You don't have to let 2020 kill your confidence in your retirement. Go to daveramsey.com/smartvestor and find an investment pro in your area. Never again face a global crisis alone. That's daveramsey.com/smartvestor. And now we have got Kelly in Charlotte, North Carolina. Hey, Kelly, how's it going?
I'm good. How are y'all?
Good. How can John and I help today?
I lost my husband about 6 months ago after a 4-year long, hard battle with cancer.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
And,
I'm sorry.
Well, the life insurance money was enough to get out of debt and pay the house off and stuff. I'm just having trouble getting excited about it, just given everything going on.
Yeah.
And, you know, now the income as well, he was the breadwinner for the most part, so now our income has been slashed 2/3. So even the, you know, live and give like no one else is not what we envisioned it to be.
Of course.
And I was the Dave Ramsey one for quite a while in our marriage, up until about the last 2 years of his life. And then he kind of got on board and we got to pay off this truck. He got really excited about it. And then he, you know, the cancer came back full force. So I'm just wondering how to go about reshuffling my mind to kind of grab hold of this and to get excited when it's been such a long, hard goal of mine for a long time.
Yeah. First and foremost, I'm so sorry. Sounds like this guy he's incredible, huh?
He was. Truly.
He paid off his truck in the middle of fighting for his life, and he cheered it on, right?
Yep.
What a stud.
He sure did.
And y'all got little ones too?
We have a 19 and 22-year-old, so not so little. I'm the runt of the family now.
They're still little. So I'm just going to talk blunt with you. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You're not going to get excited about this.
Okay.
There's no, your debt-free scream will be very, very different. The cheer will be very, very different because you're going to be doing it alone. And this was something y'all set out to do together. This was a co-adventure for y'all's family tree. And, man, he got you all the way down the finish line, handed that baton off, and you crossed the finish line by yourself. right? And so
Yeah.
It's not going to be that cheer. It's not going to be that excitement. Now, you can come down to Nashville and do your debt-free scream. We will cheer and scream with you, and it'll be a moment of joy and jubilation, but it's going to look different, and it's going to feel different, okay? So I don't want you to spend another second of energy trying to muster up some kind of fake confetti in your heart that's not there. This was supposed to be the two of you, and it's just you. And that's heartbreaking, and it's sad, and that's what grief is, right?
Okay.
There is the reality that you've got this money and you've got these bills, right? Is this house a house that you want to stay in?
For the time being, I have a son in college, so I want to stay there at least until he graduates in 3 years.
Okay. Is there a big rush to pay it all off, or is that something you just want to do for your own security?
The rush is just in the fact that I'm now, my income has taken such a hit.
Mm-hmm. So
the monthly mortgage payment is not in the budget, the 25% and all that.
Sure. So at some point you might, you're 6 months in, is for all intents and purposes, this is still just as brand new and as real as it was 4 months ago and 5 months ago, right? So there's a level of healing, and healing doesn't mean you're not going to hurt, and healing doesn't mean that you're not going to miss this guy every single day, especially a guy as awesome as this. Healing means you're going to be able to talk about it, and your eyes won't well up on you, right? Healing means you're going to smile when you think about the good stuff, right? And that's still months and months and months ahead. If paying off the house and getting out of debt and clearing that up with that money, and you're able to take care of college stuff, if you're able to do those things, it's going to buy you a year or two of financial peace so that you can then begin to think, what do I want to do with my career? What do I want to do for the back half of my life? How old are you?
I'm 54.
54, yeah. You're just halfway done yourself, right? So you got all kinds of adventures ahead of you. It will give you some space and some time to think through it. If you're going to sell this house in 6 months, then I would tell you don't pay it off. Hang on to it, right? Get out of your consumer debt and hang on to the mortgage and take a withdrawal and pay it off that way. But if you're going to stay there for 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, then pay it off and get some people that you love and you care around you, and y'all celebrate this with a prayer. Y'all celebrate this with some hugs and some tears, but it will look very, very different. And then when you're ready, we're going to have a spot for you here in Nashville, so you can come do your debt-free scream on our stage.
Yeah, and Kelly, the only thing that I would add, because I love how John highlighted that it's not going to be exciting. I would just encourage you and just affirm, take the pressure off that it should be. Yeah. It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be exciting. This money represents something you never wanted to happen, and you can still move forward and use it how you and he wanted to use it, but take the pressure off that you should feel a certain way, act a certain way, experience this a certain way. I love how John highlighted that is perfectly okay for you to give yourself what you need in this season to grieve and to move forward one step at a time. And we'll be thinking about you, Kelly. Thank you for calling in. John, have you seen people experience when they're going through a season? I know you've worked with a lot of people in different types of trauma and heartbreak, where they feel a pressure to experience it a certain way, or to act a certain way, or respond a certain way, and kind of wrestling through that.
Yeah, everybody thinks that they know how they would react when there's a car wreck or there's a thing, or if what would happen. And the reality is you don't know. And that's why it's so important to have people around you, because you think you've got, I'm going to do it, like you don't have any idea. You know what I mean? So that's why it's important to have people who bring you food. And that's why it's important that we'll have people that will spend the night with you, sleep on your couch, and make sure your pets are eating and your kids are eating stuff. So, but over 6 months, 7 months, 10 months, everybody does this differently. Cancer is different than car wrecks, and car wrecks are different than, sudden, middle of the night. Everything's different. You begin to think, what's my new picture going to look like, right? What's tomorrow going to look like? I get to craft this and create it, and I didn't plan on it, but this is the way this is. And friends and community members and a good church member or a counselor can walk you through what's it like to dream again, because I've only dreamed with this other person, right? What's this new thing going to look like? And do I want to move and be my grandkids, or do I want to start a new job? All those things look different and they feel different. What we don't often think, Christy, is that those are things we practice, right? And they are the things you practice and stumble around into, and that's what people are so important for.
Yeah, and I love how, I've hosted with Dave Ramsey before, and he always talks about not making any major financial decision if you can help it.
6 months to a year.
Yeah, 6 months to a year after the event, because you can't think clearly.
Right, yeah.
Even if it costs you a little bit more in interest or something, just give yourself the space to grieve, to be present, to give yourself what you need, and to be able to think clearly again once the fog clears a little bit. Doesn't mean it's going to be easy, and it doesn't mean you're ever going to necessarily be excited about it either.
And let me say this. Blessings to this family for having a will and having life insurance. I've sat with people, Christy, who look at me and say, we got nothing. I don't know what to do now. They're going to have to grieve at work on Monday because they don't have any money. Good for him. If you don't have a will, get a will. Get a will and take care of your family after you're gone.
It is a selfless thing you can do. It's not fun to talk about, but you'll be so glad. Everyone will be so glad you did.
Thanks for the call, Kelly.
This is The Ramsey Show. I'm Christy Wright, and hosting with me today is Dr. John Deloney. We're taking your calls about your life, your money. Maybe you're dealing with this financial situation you need some advice on. We're here for you. Maybe you're just dealing with a decision you've got to make. Somewhere you're not sure if you should say yes, you should say no, what you should do. Maybe there's relationship dynamics. John is so good at that. We were just talking even off air. I was asking him about some different things about just conflict and how you navigate that. And gosh, it's so good to have an outside perspective. Give us a call, 888-825-5225. And we're going to go to Grand Rapids, Michigan with Toby. Hey, Toby, how are you?
Hi, guys. I'm very blessed. How you doing?
Great. What's going on?
Good. Yeah, so I'm a small business owner. I've owned my business only a year. I'm only 25. I got a couple babies. Married, of course. And my business just hasn't been doing as great as I've been hoping. I do appliance repair. And my question is, originally was if there is a 7-step baby step program for small business owners like myself, or if you guys have any help that you can give me to help me maybe advertise better for my business, to beat out competitors. I don't know, just anything like that. So
yeah, that's a great question. Toby, we've actually had that exact conversation among our leadership team here, between the Entree Leadership team and my team with Business Boutique, which are a little bit different. Entree Leadership is more focused on team developments and small business, and then Business Boutique is primarily women with startups and side businesses, small businesses. But what's interesting is the business journey, while there are some principles they're built on, you need a business plan, you need a model to make money, you need some basics. It's not linear like money. It's not as linear as baby step 1, baby step 2. So I want to just ask you a few more questions about your business. How long have you been in business? How much money are you making? What are the main problems you're seeing that are keeping you from being as successful as you want to be? I think you said it's not growing or not doing as well as you want it to be. Kind of give me some numbers and specifics around what you're saying.
Yeah, so
and
last year alone,
I had two appliance guys out to my house this week. So we need you, man. What's the deal?
Yeah, the business has
I really
potential.
appreciate it. So as far as how much I made, I believe my business did 36 last year. That was actually at the beginning of Corona in February. Take home, I think my wife and I took home, 19 or 24 of that. It's just me working for the company. The issues that I'm running into is in my area, I just have some big name companies that I'm having to go against, and it's just me working for myself. Just kind of, I got good at what I was doing. I loved what I did. I love people, and I love fixing things, and this has the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
So I just pursued it, and there's a lot more to it than I thought.
Yeah.
So kind of just learning as I go. So I hope that answers your question.
It's great. I'm going to tell you a few things that jump out already, and you've just given me a couple sentences. First question, are you charging enough? And I want you to shoot me straight, Toby. Are you charging enough?
I would say I am on the cheaper end of businesses around me, but I do that to try and get more business.
Yeah. That man, that's such a temptation.
I know. I'm the same way, man.
It actually kills me because here's the thing: you think in your mind, I've got to compete against these big name companies. What have I got to use? Well, I'll just be cheaper. The problem is a long list of problems. Number one, you're getting cheap clients because you're pricing cheap. It's like fishing. That's the bait you're putting out, so that's what you're catching. Number two, you're not making any money. And number three, that's not a unique value proposition. That there's something else that makes you unique that is going to draw people to you, that is going to be so much stronger and more compelling and enable you to charge more and make more money. So when you say you're competing about the big names, here's what's great about this. Because you're a solopreneur, because you're a one-man show, you have all the opportunities in the world to decide what your brand is going to be about and then build a brand around it. Let me just give you some real basics out of the gate, Toby, that you can do. You can be the go-to guy that is always on time, always does an outstanding job, never leaves the kitchen floor dirty. And by the way, you could even be someone that someone can get tomorrow. Immediately. Because let me tell you, if my dishwasher is leaking, I don't want someone that's going to come in 3 weeks. I want them to come today or tomorrow. So if you start to understand what are the pain points of your audience that you can solve, that the big names are not solving, they come in, they leave mud tracks, they're booked 3 weeks out, they're late, they don't go, and then you begin to be the go-to guy, people will pay more and they will tell everyone they know. Which brings me to my second piece of advice, Toby, and that is you have got to activate referrals in your business. Every single person that you do work for, leave them a stack of business cards and say, next time you need me, you get 25% off for every person you send to me. This is a referral-based business. That's your sweet spot.
Oh, okay.
Because who I want teaching my kids to swim, highlighting my hair, or fixing my appliances is someone that my friends have used and trust. Service-based businesses it's a referral-based business. So just out of the gate, that's an initial thing that you can do, which is to decide what are the things that are going to differentiate you from the big guys, and it's not price. Activate your referrals and charge more. And I promise you, when you charge more, you will actually get better clients. You will get better clients that are willing to pay more, that don't nickel and dime you, that don't pick you apart. You get better people. I had a photographer in Business Boutique, Toby, that she was undercharging by too much. She actually tripled her prices, and she was so nervous that she was going to lose all her business. And she lost a few of her customers, but she doubled her prices. Ended up tripling her amount of revenue because she got more customers at the higher price point. Yes, you'll lose some of your cheapos, and that's a good thing. You'll get better customers and probably more customers.
And Toby, let me tell you what I just experienced in my house. I'm going to tell you the good stuff and the negative. You ready? Here's the good stuff. They texted me and my wife a picture of who was coming. They said, here's one time we're going to be there, and they were on time. And then this was really cool because I'm a guy, I'm skeptical by nature. Somebody goes and tinkers around, and then they go, hey, it's $342 because you need a catalytic converter, whatever, Windows 9.6. They actually took the part out, took a photo of it, and then they left the part with me. And they said, hey, this is what we changed. This is how I changed it. And I wasn't there, but he explained it to my wife. I tell you, I'm so appreciative. I trust the guy now. I trust him. Here's what was a hard thing. I said, hey, while you're here, can you give me a quote on a hot water heater? And can you check this one thing out? Well, our hot water heater division's a part of our plumbing part, which they'll be here next. Boo.
Big companies.
Boo.
Big companies.
Here's what your answer to that is. Yep, I'll figure it out, because you're a solopreneur, and your answer to those things is yes. And then the last thing is, as they left, my wife was going to work on some fencing issues, some silly thing, and she said, man, I wish we could just call one person that could do all this stuff. And I know there's handyman everywhere, and you're an appliance guy, but right now you need to make more money. Let's just cut. You got to make more money. Whether that's picking up lawns, whether that's doing painting, whether that's doing fence repair, stuff that may be a little bit out of your scope of service, but that's going to make you some money right now, and you're going to be top of mind so that anybody needs anything, they call Toby.
That's right.
And then someday you're going to have so much business and maybe making so much money that you'll be able to say, hey, I've got a lawn division. They'll be here at 9 a.m., right? Or I love what Christy said. You're the 24/7, 365 guy. I'll be there late. And you're going to do that for 3 years and just suck it up, and you're going to be tired, but you're going to build your business as the on-call guy. Whatever that looks like for you, you know what I mean? And you may even reach out to some of these big guys and say, hey, I'll be your on-call guy in the middle of the night. I don't know if that works or not, but just spreading yourself out all over the place and showing up there.
Yeah, it's good. Toby, if you do even one of these things that we recommended, you're making more money.
Yep.
If you do all 3 or 4 that we recommended, you're making a lot more money. But stay on the line. I'll have Kelly send you a copy of Business Boutique. Yes, it says it's for women, but listen, the business principles apply. You can read it in secret and not see that you're reading a book.
I read it in a coffee shop. You'll be fine.
These business principles are literally for building a solopreneur business, and that is what you're doing, and that will give you even more tips to activate your referral-based business, to understand what your unique selling proposition is, what sets you apart, how to build your brand, what are you the go-to guy for. Figure it out, leverage the heck out of it, and then you'll watch that business grow. Great question. I hope that helps.
Get 'em, Toby.
This is The Ramsey Show.
Today is an exciting day. I'm sitting here right next to her. Christy Wright, national best-selling author and Ramsey personality, has been heads down on a project she's been passionate about for a long, long time. 10 years or so in the making. Because it deals with an issue that's affected her personally, how to feel balanced in your life. Just the way you phrase that, Christy, not how to be balanced, but how to feel balanced, makes this book unique in the space. We were talking about earlier, it's just so full of nonsense. People are like, life balance. It's just ride the pony or whatever. It's like a diamond. Your heart. Shut up. You wrote the right book. Today we're launching the pre-sale of her new book, Take Back Your Time, the guilt-free guide to life balance. This book was born out of Christy's real-life struggles. For years, she was running on empty and was stretched way too thin. As a mom of 3, she realized something had to change. She took a long, hard look at her life and her calendar. Figure out why she felt overwhelmed and overcommitted all the time. She discovered that balance is about doing the right things at the right time. And drumroll, please, you get to decide what's right for you. This is not some lame productivity book or a book on just say no. That was the 80s. You'll learn the step-by-step plan on how how to be intentional with your time and how to finally prioritize the things that you really want to do so they stop getting pushed to the back burner. Time is like your money. If you're not intentional with it, it's going to leave. Stop living burned out and actually feel balanced, which is another word for peace. Go to the online store at Ramsey Solutions. And pre-order your copy of Christy's new book, Take Back Your Time, today. When you do, you'll get over $50 of free bonus items. Congratulations, Christy. This is a big day. Big day. I'm so excited for you.
Thank you for that.
So rad.
I also like your version of the marketing copy that involves a diamond in your heart and rainbows.
Just what...
I was like, he's going off script, and I like it. It's great.
I just can't tell you how many times. How do you get work-life balance? Well, what you got to do is 9 somersaults in a field of clover. And what are you talking about? It's not helping me.
I mean, I tell you what, we talked about this at Untrue Leadership Summit, but it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, I don't know what balance is, but I just know I don't have it. That's how most people feel. They don't know what it is, but they know they don't have it, and I want to help them know what it is and know how to have it.
You're so great.
Awesome.
I'm so glad you read it. I wrote it, and I'm going to be one of those people that reads their friends' books, but here we go.
Thank you. You should. I hope you do. All right. Going to San Francisco, we've got Judy. Hey, Judy. How's it going?
Hey, it's going okay.
What's up, Judy? How can we help?
How can we help?
Take a breath, hon.
You can take your time.
My sister just got married June 11th, and then just shy of her 1 month anniversary, my brother-in-law just suddenly died in the house.
Oh, no. I'm so sorry.
I'm thinking it's either a massive heart attack or a brain aneurysm at birth. This is the first time in our family that we've ever had this sudden, unexpected loss. I just want to know how we can help her get through this.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry, Judy.
And she is lucky to have you. Tell me about this guy.
His name's Mike. He's only 35.
Was he a fun guy, a silly guy, a grumpy guy? Tell me about him.
He's a fun guy. He had some struggles growing up, but he kind of turned his life around. And for my sister, he was like out of the guys that she was with before, he was the only one who kind of like was her equal and to match her. It was just so fun and easygoing and totally non-judgmental.
Yeah.
Like, it's so easy to have a conversation with him.
A guy that you want your sister to be married to, huh?
Yeah, for sure.
Well, Judy, our heart's broken with yours and your families, and we'll be thinking about you guys and praying for you guys. Right now, you're going to be in a season of disbelief and of trying to get the next right thing done, which is often eating, which is often going outside and going for a walk, which is often sleeping and making sure the light bill is paid. Were y'all able to have a funeral and everybody get to go?
Yeah, it's going to be this Thursday. I'm going to be flying out to the East Coast to be with her.
Good. So if at all possible, make sure you don't miss that funeral. Make sure you're a part of that. And a funeral is a great way to tell somebody that you love them, that you remember them, and especially as a way that you can show your sister that you love her. Often, and again, I everybody does grief differently, and so not judging your sister, not telling her she should be doing this by now or that by now. You know, it's about a week now, so you should not having any of that kind of language, but just letting her know that you love her. If you can spend some time there with her, if you can make sure that she's got meals that are going to show up at her house, if you've got people that are going to show up there with her, whenever the time comes that you got to start packing boxes and go through wills and go through life insurance stuff, that she's got somebody there with her that can walk along that side. And I do this for a living. And if my wife suddenly passed away, I'd have somebody with me. because I know enough to know that I wouldn't be clear doing that. The other thing is, if she's got a job and she doesn't have an emergency needs financially, there is no rush. There is no rush. The guy who was important in my life said 6 months to a year. You take your time, man. And then for you as sister, texting every day, checking in with her, telling her that you'll love her, calling your mom and make sure they're doing good if y'all got other brothers and sisters, but just making sure everybody's talking and communicating together. Okay. And then there's when the time comes, there is nothing worse than handing somebody some cliche pillow with a clever slogan on it, or handing somebody some book when they're struggling, right? But over time, 2 months, 5 months, 7 months, the book Finding Meaning by David Kessler, I think, is the masterpiece on grief, on how to think through what's happening in your heart and head when you've lost somebody close to you. And that might be something that you say, hey, let's read this together, because you're struggling, you're all struggling, everybody's struggling. The main thing here is there's no right way to do grief. Everybody does it different. And there is no rush to do anything or feel a certain way. This is just gonna hurt. Y'all are right in the middle of it, and I'm so sorry.
Thank you.
I am glad. She's lucky to have you as a sister who's going to go out there and see her. Okay, so I want you to keep us. Let us know how the funeral goes. Let us know if there's anything else we can do to help. And if your sister needs help figuring out finances or what comes next, or how she's going to make sense of the next 6 months, next year, next 2 years, tell her to give us a call back. But we're grateful for your heart, Judy, and we'll be thinking and praying about you.
So sorry that happened. John, I like how you pointed out that everyone does grief differently, because I think that it gives people permission and freedom to have grace for themselves if it looks different than how someone else does it, or what they thought it was going to look like. And I think that has got to be it just so almost just a source of comfort in that season, that knowing there's no performance, there's no formula, there's no playbook of like, this is how it should go, because it's different for everyone and every situation is different.
The last thing we need to do is beat ourselves up, because
more pressure on yourself. Yeah.
Or sometimes when folks don't know what to do, they want to help, they don't know how, so they project onto people who are hurting.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you need to be doing this, this, and this, and this, because that's them trying to take control back, which I get, and I honor it. But man, the last thing people often need is another set of expectations. They do need to get up, and they do need to eat, and they need to go exercise, and they do need to take showers and things like that. So there are some needs there, but this whole, you need to move on, or it's time to go find somebody else, or you need to get rid of all the clothes. Man, that everybody does that differently.
Yeah,
right?
And just not underestimating for anyone listening right now that has someone going through a hard time, and I'd be willing to bet a lot of you do.
Everybody
because a lot of people are going through hard times. Don't underestimate the value in just being there.
Show up.
Just sending
and keep
a
your
text.
mouth shut. Yeah.
Sending a text saying, how are you? I'm thinking about you. How are you? I'm bringing you dinner tonight.
Yep.
How are you? I'm coming over in a few minutes to hang
just
out.
Sit.
To just be there.
Just sit, yeah.
So important. I want to thank producer James Childs and associate producer Kelly Daniel, my co-host John Deloney, who is so graceful at handling hard situations just like that. This is The Ramsey Show.
It's Kelly, associate producer and phone screener for The Ramsey Show. If you would like to do your debt-free scream live on the show, make sure you visit theramseyshow.com and register. We would love for you to come to Nashville and tell Dave your story.
This is The Ramsey Show. You can be intentional about your character. You can have money and a career. You are the hero in your story.
Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Dollar Car Rental Studio, this is The Ramsey Show, where America hangs out to have a conversation about your life and your money. I'm Christy Wright, and joining me today is Dr. John Deloney. We are celebrating the kickoff of the pre-order of my new book, Take Back Your Time. Woo! the guilt-free guide to life balance. We are celebrating it, talking about time management today. If you want to get your copy, to get all the pre-order bonus items, you can go to RamseySolutions.com and get your copy. And we're taking your calls, as always. 888-825-5225. We are talking about all things life and money. We want to help you get the advice and direction that you need. That's 888-825-5225.
Hold on, before we go to the calls.
Yes.
Give us 30 seconds on this book. I'm excited about it.
Well, it's like we were talking about earlier, John. A lot of people feel like they want balance, but they don't know what it is. They just know they don't have it. And so I've taken this elusive idea of balance and then given them a very specific path to get it. So I don't think life balance is doing everything for an equal amount of time. It's doing the right things at the right time. And when you do that, you feel the sense of balance you've been looking for. And it's been cool to see the feedback already from our early readers. They're like, oh, wow, this is so practical. And that's what I wanted for a hard topic like balance.
So if you are listening to this and you have to drive 90 miles an hour to get to work every day, or you're eating lunch in your lap while you're on the phone and you're driving with your knee and you're reaching back to hand your kid their sippy cup, or if you're married to somebody or dating somebody and you feel like if they just misplaced their toothbrush, this whole house of cards is coming down. This book is for them and for you. And this is me looking in the mirror. The book's for, for me.
Hey, let's be honest. It's for me. That's why I wrote it. Authors write what they need. And I'm like, whether you're scattered, you're overcommitted, you worry that you spend too much time on your phone, like we all do, all the things, you don't need more time. You just need to spend the time you have on the right things, and it'll help you do that. All right, let's go to Denver. We've got Amber in Denver, Colorado. Hey, Amber, how are you?
Hi, John and Christy. I am calling because I am struggling with my marriage.
What's up?
I've been married for 2.5 years. It's actually my second marriage. And when I married my husband, I had a long list of things that he needed to check off before I decided to get married, and he checked off a lot of those boxes. And
hold on. Before you go any further, just humor me. What are some of the things on your magical, mythical fantasy list?
Kind. Let's see. Reliable.
Keep going. Those are the easy ones. Give us the ones that are going to make me roll my eyes.
Sturdy, stable.
Sturdy. Like I'm looking at a guy out in the lobby that's got about 150 pounds of just raw beef on him. He's ripped.
I just think somebody who's
that kind of sturdy,
passionate and easygoing, I guess, is the right way to put it.
Passionate and easygoing. Okay, continue.
No, not passionate. Not passionate. Easygoing.
Okay.
Compassionate.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
And he. I think for him, his checklist was more like, stable, good with money, comes from a good family type thing. And we're kind of coming to this pivotal moment in our relationship where we are realizing that we never had like the love spark. And I'm really struggling trying to figure out if that's actually a necessary thing to have.
So, yes, you should. Man, you're saying all the things. If this feels like I'm not even going to go there. You're saying all the things. So yes, you have to love the person that you're married to. That's one of the cornerstones of marriage is I love the person. I often wince when somebody says we're coming to this apex moment, especially when it's 2.5 years in. That feels like you have set yourself up for a determined outcome that you want, and you want to blame it on a moment.
Right.
So why'd you marry this guy? If he's sturdy and compassionate and kind and lovely.
Yeah.
And I promise that he wanted you for more than you were good with money.
Yeah. Right. My first marriage was pretty tumultuous. There was a lot of passion and love, but it ended badly.
Yep.
There was infidelity and addiction. And so I knew that, I guess I feel like I didn't trust that anymore. And I wanted something a little bit more stable and reliable.
Okay.
And I I'm just like, I guess I'm struggling because I always believed we could just cultivate something that was worth it. But it feels a little bit more like an arranged marriage type situation. And
it's been a few years since I looked at the data. But arranged marriages over time, when they decide they're going to put the work in, they love each other. The data on that suggests that they last a long, long time.
Yeah.
And so what I'm going to tell you is you've got a lot more choice in this than you're allowing yourself. Christy, I can feel you just moving, like almost. I can feel it from you.
Well, when you were saying the checklist, Amber, of what you wanted in a spouse, I already knew what your previous relationship was, because your checklist was really consistent. And typically when someone is passionate, I'm looking for these things: kind, compassionate, stable. I'm like, well, she's been somewhere where she didn't get that, because otherwise she wouldn't be so definitive. I need these things. Like, you've been hurt, you've been wounded. I think there's an element of this, and John, I actually want to throw it back to you on this aspect of, I think people view marriage differently. As a believer, as a child of divorced parents, I'm like, no, I'm in it. Yeah. I'm in it unless I'm in it.
Yeah.
But that's how I view marriage. Everyone doesn't view marriage like that. Everyone doesn't view marriage depending on your faith. Yeah. And so I think how you view marriage greatly, I would imagine, affects how you make decisions.
Yep.
Because I hear this as hard, make the choice to love each other, work at it, stick with it, and turn it into what you want it to be. But everyone doesn't see it like that, and I feel like you
just said something that is countercultural yet scientifically accurate, which is make the choice to love. Esther Perel is the one who first put me on to this, which is, it used to be historically that we got our security and our stability from our institutions, right? From our small villages, from our churches, from our local schools. And as those institutions have shifted and changed over time, we've looked at our marriage partner and said, you are everything. Your stability, you're my love, you're my romantic, you're my passion. So here's the thing. You've got stability, you've got kindness, you got a person of character. Desire is something that you practice. It is something you say, I'm going to be about, and he's going to be about it too. And y'all are going to have the adventure of a lifetime practicing desire. You've got the stability and the safety. Now you decide, this marriage is not going to end. We're going to practice desire, and we're going to be all in. And you're going to look up in 6 months, and you're going to be so in love with this dude that your house is on fire.
That's good. That's good. Do you think Disney movies have ruined us? I think they have.
They've destroyed everything.
This is The Ramsey Show.
Stop paying your overpriced wireless provider and switch to Pure Talk. They use the same network as the larger providers for much less. For just $30 a month, get unlimited talk, text, and 6 gigs of data with no contract. The average family saves over $70 a month by switching to Pure Talk. Just go to puretalk.com and enter the promo code Ramsey to save 50% off your first month. Pure Talk, simply smarter wireless.
I'm Christy Wright. Joining me today is Dr. John Deloney. And, John, you have actually been a guest on my show, The Christy Wright Show, which is my weekly podcast and YouTube show. And when you were on recently, I asked you about something that I think is so perfect for what we were just talking about in the last segment, and something else I want to talk about. And this is something that you have helped me and my husband with. You gave me some advice a while back, and we were talking about expectations and communication. And you said, you've got to talk in pictures. You've got to talk in pictures instead of saying, what do you want to do Saturday? Oh, let's have a fun day. Specify what fun means to you and what that means to Matt. Because so often in marriage, I think we miss each other And he says one thing, I say another thing. We think we're saying the same thing, and then we end up somebody's frustrated because we didn't do what we said we want to do. And you said, speak in pictures. That was one example that you have given me such great advice in marriage because we do this now. So, hey, Friday, what do you want to do Friday night? What does that look like to you? I know you have worked with a lot of couples, and you actually have an event coming up, Money in Marriage, with Rachel Cruz. Tell us about your event, because this is one of those things where if someone was listening to the last call and they're relating to that going, hey, we're in a tough place. We want to do what you just said. We want to make an effort. How do we do that? Sometimes it helps to have outside people come alongside you and support you and encourage you and give you practical steps like you gave me in terms of speaking in pictures. So talk a little bit about the event, when it is, how people can get tickets, all that good stuff.
Well, yeah, so when I think about that couple that woman that was just on the call, if you're sitting in a counseling context, that's a dream.
Mm-hmm.
Like, nobody's cheating on anybody.
Right.
Nobody's unethical. Nobody's mean. Nobody's abusive. It's just we don't have this spark, and because since we're thinking in we haven't thought in pictures, we're just thinking I should be feeling this way. I don't feel this way. Oh my gosh, that tells me that we're missing some tactical skills, right? Just some things we can practice. So this weekend we got Money in Marriage event. It's Friday night. This Friday. Listen. Put the kids to bed, put them in another room. I'll even give you a pass just to hand them a screen for an hour and a half. Just hand them a screen in another room and say, hey, Deloney approved this for one night. You can do this. It's me and Rachel. Listen, we are 6 months out of 2020. Everybody hit the gas. It's like shaking up a 2-liter bottle. I was hoping that we would just open the top gently. We didn't. We opened it up, and now stuff is everywhere. Where everybody's exhausted. They're flying by. We've had vacations. Everybody's just running chaos. And the thing that gets put on the back burner is our marriages, right? So it's time to reconnect, bring back the spark, romance. We are going to be talking about sex. We're going to be talking about connection. We're going to be talking about all new stuff. And listen, we can't, we are halfway through this year, and I'll just leave it at that. It's gonna be awesome. I think prices are $30. Text marriage to 33789. It's gonna be me and Rachel. It's all new content, all new stuff. It's gonna be a lot of fun. It's gonna be a lot of laughter, and you're gonna walk away with some real tips on how to, just like that last couple. I said, hey, you need to practice desire. I know millions of people just listen to that and go, what is that? What are you talking about? Practice desire. I just look at him and he's just sitting on the couch with Cheetos on his shirt. How do I practice desire with that guy? I'm going to give you some tips and tricks, okay? So text marriage to 33789. It's $30 for crying out loud. You can't even leave your house for that much. Set it up, watch it. It's going to be fun. Marriage. Text marriage to 33789. For some of you that may struggle with spelling that word like I do, I get the I and the A mixed up. Listen, MARRIAGE. You're going to have the misspellings being texted that number. They're not going to get the information. 33789. It's this Friday night. Man, we'd love to see you there, and it's going to be a blast. Me and Rachel Cruz.
And I just want to call out some people that are listening. Listen, especially for the women or men. If you've been complaining to your friends about your spouse, listen, it's time to actually invest in your marriage. Stop complaining about things. Stop making excuses. Actually do something about it. Invest in this part of your life if you want it to be better. So often we complain about things and then we just don't do anything to make it better. This is a great practical way to invest in it in a way that will make it better, where you actually get different results. So you guys get your tickets. I'm so excited about this.
Hey,
Go ahead. Yeah, no, tell me.
If you have been married, I don't know, more than a couple years, I don't know anybody. You may be the first. I don't know anybody who hasn't sat down with a friend or two and said, hey, I don't know if this is the right thing, right? I don't know if I made, man, we're too far apart to come back. We should not have done this. I think I'm ready to cash out. I don't know anybody who hasn't had those thoughts, those experiences. This is a low-key, lo-fi, fun way, yet very serious way, as you just said. Just sit down on the couch together, sit in the opposite reclining chairs together.
There you go.
And do something together. You don't have to leave your house. You don't have to get all dramatic and make a counseling appointment. Do this together. Don't quit. Don't quit on your marriage.
Yeah, I would. There's one thing I would speak to with people that are maybe in my season, because I'll tell you what I struggle with more than that is being in a season of young children, 6, 4.5, and 1.5. They will suck the life out of your marriage. Marriage becomes business. Do you have the kids? Do you have the dry cleaning? Who's getting dinner? Who's cleaning the house? It's like we are just managing our household, and we miss each other.
You become coworkers,
and we miss each other. And it takes us getting out of that, getting childcare, getting out of that to go, oh, there you are. There we are. There we are, And so for anybody, even if you're not in an extreme like crisis mode in your marriage where you're doubting your marriage or wondering what, a really hard season, it might just be the grind.
Yeah.
Marriage has become business of running errands and keeping up with kids and changing diapers. And this is a great way to remember who you were before kids, who you are in addition to kids, to get back to that. And like you said, practice.
And build something new.
Practice loving each other. Yeah.
Can I ask you this question?
Yeah.
Few words in the world get my heart rate up and my adrenaline and cortisol spiked more than the word snacks. Christy, right. If my kids say the words, I want a snack, well, I can't handle it. Am I crazy?
Let me tell you.
While they're eating dinner, they will say, what's for snack? Mm-hmm. While they have food in their hands.
Sure. Yeah. No, I'm with you.
America, I hate the word snack. And I would like to propose on behalf of the Ramsey Show that we just get rid of that word completely. That we never say the word snack again. I'm sick of I can't handle the word, man. Can we have a snack? Can we have a snack? Oh, my gosh.
One of my morning routines that I have instituted a while ago, and I actually talk about this in the book, but I wake up before my kids, even though I have little ones. Even though they wake up early, I set my alarm for about 30 minutes before them. Even if it's only 15, I have to wake up as mom, because if not, I wake up too. I want a snack. Where's my milk? Where's my clothes? He looked at me wrong. Put on Mickey Mouse. I just get screamed at from the moment I open my eyes to consciousness. And I just need to wake up to me. I just need to wake up to not being mom. And that small moment in time gives me 15 minutes before I get yelled at about snacks, because it's snacks the rest of the day and every other need that they have.
The other needs are fine. Change my diaper. Sure, you got that. Hey, can we go fishing? Not today, but hey, we need to mow the yard. Great. Can I have a snack? Can I have a snack? Can I have a snack? Hey, look, that place has snacks. It's just a word. I think snack is Latin for I hate you. I think that's what that means.
All right. So money and marriage this Friday night. Invest in your marriage. You will be glad that you did. All right. We've got Lee calling in from Portland. Hey, Lee, how's it going?
It's going pretty well. Thank you.
How can we help?
My question is it ethically and morally right to accept pay to care for my special needs adult daughter? So I guess...
Walk me through, yeah. Give me some more details there, yeah.
Okay, yes. So I have friends, family, acquaintances that have been advising me this is the way to go. I can get paid to care for her, but I've been struggling with this for quite a while because I know that it's quite possibly, tax money that's probably paying for it. And I don't know if I feel right taking it. Being paid to do to be mom.
Yeah.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Lee, this is a really interesting question, and I want to make sure that we give you a good answer and do it justice. So we gotta hop to break here in a second, but stay on the line, and we will pick it back up when we come back from break. And Dr. John Deloney and I will dig into this for you. Stay on the line for us. right, and joining me today is Dr. John Deloney. And just before the break, we were talking to Lee in Portland, and we kind of ran out of time, so we want to go ahead and pick up that conversation. Lee, John Deloney and I have just some follow-up questions for you. Can you tell us a little bit more about the details around the arrangement? I know you were asking about, is it morally and ethically okay for you to accept payments to care for your special needs adult daughter? But what are kind of the regulations around that? How much money would it be? Can you work? Give us some more specifics there.
So what I understand is I can apply to be my own daughter's caregiver, which there are people who have caregivers that are. I don't fully know the details exactly, but you can get paid up like $15 an hour or something to be your child's caregiver, as opposed to someone coming from the outside to do the same thing.
And so why do you feel guilty about that?
I don't know, because it's my job to be mom.
Right. How old is she?
25.
Okay.
Do you work? Do you have another job?
Yes, I do.
What do you do in your other job?
I work in member services.
What does that mean?
For a fitness center.
Oh, okay, gotcha. So, Christy, feel free to weigh in on this. I see absolutely no problem with this, and here's why. Number one, you're going to hire care anyway for your adult daughter. There is no better care on planet Earth than you, mom. Someone who loves their daughter, has known her for 25 years. Number two, this is going to require you to cut back some hours for your day job, if not all of them. You're going to have to make a number of financial concessions. And I actually I'm a taxpayer, pay a lot of taxes. I don't have a problem with this type of arrangement because you're going to have to make that money up somewhere else. And so at some point, your daughter's going to need care. I have no problem with it being you. I do understand where you're coming from, but there is a time for being mom, and there is a time for that medical care, that special needs care, that driving back and forth to appointments. Don't get those tangled up. Mom's about love and showing up, and it is about caring and doing whatever. I'll go to the ends of earth and all that stuff, and it's all right and true. But I've got absolutely no moral or ethical problem with you doing this. Christy?
Lee, the other thing I just want to commend you. First of all, your daughter's 25, so she is an adult. Like, you have been mom of a child, and you raised your child to be 25. And because of the unique situation with her having special needs, I'd be willing to bet that no one, other than maybe our listeners right now that have been in similar shoes of having a special needs child, no one understands what you have been through. No one understands the sacrifices you've made. No one understands the money you've spent. No one understands how hard that road has been for you and even will continue to be as you care for her. And so for you to have some additional money to help you offset the cost of what you're doing to care for her, and additionally the sacrifices from whatever you have to cut back on your own income, that is absolutely appropriate. That is absolutely appropriate for you to have that additional care, for you to have that additional income. And I would be willing to bet that every single parent of a special needs child would agree with me on that. That's a hard road, and you need all the support you can get. So I hope that answers your question. I hope it also just gives you permission to get what you need to do what you want to do, which it sounds like is care for your child. So thanks for calling in.
I love it. What a heart, Lee. Good for you.
We have such a, when it's money, there's so many emotions tangled up in it, isn't it? Yeah. Like, it's like we've got all these feelings about it, whether it's something like that or even, I mean, I know this is a completely opposite example, but I see similarities with women I help with business. They feel guilty for charging.
Right.
And they're providing a product or service. And they're like, well, I feel bad. Yeah. I'm like, why do you feel bad? I don't know. I just feel bad taking money from people.
It's that magic word, I should, right?
Oh my gosh. We have many emotions with money. Speaking of emotions with money, a lot of times I think our emotions can drive our decisions and our behavior with money. We get in a situation we don't want to be in. We need help getting it together. If you are struggling with money, if you're struggling with keeping up with payments, you know what it's like to be so scared and so overwhelmed you can't think straight. The emotions have taken over. But here's the good news. You don't have to live like that anymore. When you pay off your debt as fast as possible, like we teach and like millions of Americans have done with our plan, you will never have that kind of stress in your life again. You can do this. And here's where you start. Financial Peace University. Millions of people have taken this class and learned how to pay off debt and take control of their money. You can stream all 9 lessons right now or get some extra support by going through the class with other people. And the only way to get Financial Peace University is with a Ramsey Plus membership. You can get rid of that debt that's holding you back and end the cycle of worry and stress. To start your free trial of Ramsey Plus, just text TRIAL to 33789. That's trial to 33789. You know, John, I went through Financial Peace University in 2012, and I was already on my debt-free journey, but it just kickstarted it even faster because I actually had a plan. And whether it's, like we were talking about earlier, whether it's managing your time, managing your money, running a marathon, when you have a plan on paper, you know that you can do it because you can see it. You can see what the steps are. Yeah.
And hey, if you text trial to 33789 and you are part of the free trial, you can stream the Money and Marriage event for free.
Oh, how about that?
If you're in Ramsey Plus, these kind of cool things show up, and you get free access to the live stream events, and this is one of them coming up Friday. So if you take advantage of this free trial today, you can also stream that event this weekend for free.
All right. That's trial to 33789. Trial to 33789. You get your Ramsey Plus membership, kickstart your money plan, and you get access to a Money and Marriage event with John Deloney, Rachel Cruz this Friday night. We've had kind of a theme today with marriage calls, and so I think it's perfect timing with that to show people things that you can do, habits that you can create to change your outcome. John, what is one thing that you are most excited about teaching people, talking about, speaking on this Friday night? What aspect of it?
That's a great question. Probably for some reason, we can make humans together. We can share bathrooms. We can share meals. But when it comes to talking about sex and intimacy, when it comes to talking about money, and when it comes to talking about dreams, like what do we want? What's the picture of our life going to look like? Our mouths go dry. We don't know what to say. We don't know how to talk about it. We're so nervous about rejection. And man, when you talk about intimacy, you talk about money, there's so much baggage there. There's so much hurt there. There's so much cultural narrative and family history and old stories we tell ourselves. So much goes into that. And so at some point, somebody just has to turn all the lights on, turn the music off, and say, hey, can we just be honest with each other for a minute?
Yeah.
And it's the same way Dave does it with money. He just says, hey, I know what the culture's telling you. I know what the world's telling you. Just listen. If you do it like this. And so it's the same. It's just teaching people how to talk to one another.
You know, this is a silly example, but when I was in high school, I joined the track team, and you expect that running is one of those things you're just born knowing how to do, right? Like you crawl, then walk, then run, and kids run all over the playground. And so you think running, like what would you learn in running? And I remember in the track team in high school, I learned form and drills, and I got faster and faster. And the faster I got, the more I wanted to run because I learned all the proper technique of something that I thought I was supposed to know how to do. Yeah. And I think that we feel that way about marriage.
Yeah, and friendship.
Sex, even like sex and intimacy, you think you're supposed to know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like what to talk about, how to do it. And so because we expect that we're supposed to know how to do all these things, raise kids, communicate with our spouse, whatever, because we expect that we're supposed to know how to do it, we're just supposed to be born knowing how to do it. We're afraid to ask.
Yeah.
We're afraid to get outside help. We're afraid to talk to our spouse about it. And that's why I'm so excited you guys are doing this event where you are going to talk about those things and give people the language around it to talk about it, but also the specific steps they can take on these things that, guess what? You're not born knowing how to do.
If we will just take a deep breath and step back and look at relationships, marriages, friendships even, we have a loneliness epidemic, and look at them as a series of skills that we don't have. And now I can go grab some skills, the same as I do when I want to learn a song on guitar, when I want to fix something under my sink. I just need some skills. Man, you can take all the drama out of it and we can go get some of this done and heal relationships all over the country.
So good. This is The Ramsey Show. Blinds.com 100% satisfaction guarantee means that even if you mismeasure or pick the wrong color, they'll remake your blinds for free. You get free samples, free shipping, and with the new promotions they run every month, you'll save even more. Use the promo code Ramsey to get the best deal. All right, today's question comes from Laurie in California. I'm a single mother with a 17-year-old son. I'm working the baby steps to financially prepare for the end of child support and my future retirement. I'm in baby step 2 with $50,000 in debt and make about $65,000 a year. I attend a business boutique and have a side Etsy business, which I had to put on hold to tutor my son through some school challenges this year. Now that he's on a more solid education footing, should I focus on building the business again to get more income for the baby steps? There's a lot going on here.
Yeah, there is.
You know, what's interesting is a lot of times when people ask about business, should I focus on building the business again? There's usually some more information that's missing. Mm-hmm. Because if you can build the business and not spend any money on it, yes. If you can build the business and you have the time or can make the time, yes. But if you're in a season where it's going to cost a lot of money to get it off the ground, or you just do not have the time, your time would be better spent in a full-time job or something, then no. So I think it's one of those things where one of the things I love to help people do, John, is I love to help people in their business, regardless of their type of business, get profitable fast. So sometimes people will come to me with this big idea, like I want to buy land and build an event space and I want to have big events. I'm like, that's awesome. Can you just sublease a warehouse down the road and put some events there and prove your concept first? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because I think sometimes we have the Cadillac version of our idea, or we have we want to put a bunch of money into it. And I want to help you figure out how to build the thing and not put a bunch of money into it. I want to help you make a bunch of money growing slow. I mean, this business is an example. We started on a card table in Dave Ramsey's living room. Right. You know, growing at the speed of cash.
So I got a letter today, which I love, like handwritten letter, or it was typed. And so walk me through what this would look like. So somebody wrote in and said, my husband and I we're looking at the data, the stats on minister burnout. And you can put doctor burnout, dentist burnout, teacher burnout. We just fry helping professionals, right? Mm-hmm. But this particular family was interested in starting a retreat center, getting a bunch of land, starting a place for ministers to come heal their marriages, heal their lives, and get stuff back together. Walk me through what you would tell that person. Like, it sounds like they're starting with the end in mind, which is this magical ranch with 30 tiny houses that you can be full of all the time. That's not reality. Reality is, we're here. We have no land. Yeah. We all work construction jobs. I mean, what would that look like?
Right. Well, I think that there's two implications. There's the financial implication of you have to have the cash to go buy that land and build that place, but there's also the risk implication that you haven't proven this idea yet. You think it'll be a huge success.
Do people want to come spend time with you?
Right. And I hope that it is. Yeah. But we need to prove the concept. So I'll give you an example of a friend of mine, actually. This was years ago. He had an idea to start a cookie delivery business. He worked a full-time job. And instead of going and leasing a retail storefront in the middle of downtown Nashville, committing to a 10-year lease and spending all this money for a build-out and all this stuff for an idea that he had not proven, what he did was he found a commercial kitchen downtown that only operated from 8 to 5. He went in, proposed his idea, and said, hey, I want to start a cookie delivery business in the evenings. Can I come in your off hours after 5 p.m. and bake and use your kitchen? And they said yes. And so he had no risk, no commitment. The financial investment was almost nothing. It was just his ingredients, right, for the cookies. And he cash flowed it. He continued to cash flow it, built this awesome cookie delivery business in downtown Nashville, delivered to Vanderbilt students. Parents would send cookies to their kids studying for exams. Wow, yeah. Built it up over years of working in the evenings after his full-time job. So he had the stability of his income. Mm-hmm. But what he was doing was proving the concept. He was getting cash in and proving the concept. And then, I think it was after a couple years, got a storefront. And then eventually after the storefront was so successful, sold it. And so he's just had this awesome evolution of his business, but it's not because he had an idea and turned that idea into a big risk. You grow at the speed of cash. And so in that case, I would find, what does an event venue look like? Is there some non-traditional space that you could use to do that's in their off hours, in their off weekends, dates, times, whatever, to host events there, provide the healing, provide the concept on a 1.0 version. I use the iPhone as an example. The iPhone's on the iPhone, 12? Mm-hmm. They started with the iPhone 1. It didn't do half of the things that it does now.
Right.
It didn't have the camera that it has now. It didn't have the functionality that it has now. But they put something out there in the world, the 1.0 version, and they listen to the market and they iterate and improve and iterate and improve concept and get money in, and then put 2.0, 3.0, et cetera. So I recommend people come up with their 1.0 version of that idea. What is a creative, low cost, low risk version of that idea where you can prove concept and get cash, and then cash flow it out over time so that you have low risk and all of the ownership. And so I think that's just a safer way to do it.
How do you teach somebody, Christy, let me say it this way. I love feedback. Mm-hmm. I like to, hey, you gave a talk tool and it wasn't great. Here's how we can make it better. You didn't hit the mark on this, or this was kind of funny. We could have done this better. Your show needs to do this. I like that because I don't want to spend my time, and my life's too short, right? But I also know sometimes those things are sensitive, right? So let's take your cookie friend. Mm-hmm. The proof of concept. Hey, can you make cookies? Can you work hard? Yes, I can do all these things. I've got this great business plan. Actually, looks good on paper. Mm-hmm. To me, the cornerstone question there is, do people like your cookies? Yeah. Are they good? Yeah. Right? Or are you a kind of person that people whose marriages are struggling want to come spend time with you? Or do you bring people peace? Or how do you teach people to go out on that limb and solicit feedback, accept feedback, be able to say, well, I want to start a cookie shop. I'm not great at baking.
Yeah. I think you have to reframe failure, because if you're all sensitive about your cookies or your marriage counseling and you think that someone giving you feedback that isn't perfect is a failure or a criticism, then you're never going to look for it. You're never going to seek it. You're not going to listen to it. But view business like a scientist. Scientists never fail. They're just experimenting.
They're just trying to be less wrong.
Everything is an experiment.
Yeah.
If an experiment goes wrong, it's like, well, I'll learn from that. And another one went wrong, I'll learn from that. Everything is an experiment. So see that as an experiment. In my cookie friend example, he sent all of his friends cookies and said, are they good? He sent me some. He sent Matt and I some to our house when we lived in Sylvan Park.
My friends are the worst. They never do that. My friends want to...
But he literally asked this question. Yeah. Were they warm? Were they soft? Did they taste good? Which flavor was your favorite? He sought out that, but he saw it as research. He saw it as an experiment. And so whatever idea you have, if it is a business idea, if it is a ministry idea, nonprofit, for-profit, it doesn't matter. Seek out that feedback, and then you make changes based on the feedback. We do that internally. Mm-hmm. We put out surveys. This cover of my book is the cover that the survey people picked. Yeah. We had 6 covers. This is the one they picked. And so ask people feedback to know what they like and what they want, and your idea is going to be better. But then in business, I love what Dave Ramsey says. Business is a conversation with the marketplace. You never just come out with the iPhone and you never fix your iPhone. You never come out with a cookie recipe and you never update it probably. You're probably always making it better, figuring out how to deliver them, where they're going to stay warmer. You're always iterating on whatever your idea is to make it better for your customers. It's a conversation with the marketplace. All right, I want to share with you guys our scripture and quote of the day. Our scripture is Matthew 6:26. Look at the birds of the air. They do not sow or reap or store away in barns, and yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not much more valuable than they? Our quote today, the invariable mark of wisdom is to see the miraculous in the common. Ralph Waldo Emerson.
Baby, I love it.
Man, what a perfect quote for what we've been talking about in marriage.
It's the little stuff, man.
See the miraculous in the common. See that your spouse is showing you love by taking out the trash. See the miraculous in the common, even in the day-to-day grind. That's so good. John, this was fun. Thanks for hanging out with me.
And congratulations on the launch of your books. Go to theramsey.com, ramseysolutions.com, and get your copy. So good. Can't wait.
Thank you. Thank you. I also want to thank producer James Child, associate producer Kelly Daniel, and you, America, for listening. This is The Ramsey Show.
Have a friend or family member that needs a daily dose of Ramsey advice in their life? Let them know about the Ramsey Call of the Day podcast. It's a quick hit of advice about life and money in under 10 minutes. Check out the Ramsey Call of the Day podcast wherever you listen to podcasts.